It was a fun time for my birthday and all that, and watched the pay-per-view, and we had a title change this week, not on the pay-per-view. I think I put out, like, kind of my thoughts on it on RLPW.
Right.
People was a little moist, when I was asking questions, James. All I was doing was asking questions. I was like, this ain't feel weird?
Well,
No, no.
to be fair, you said people feeling moist, which is that's crazy. But like to be fair, you were pouring water on the whole goddamn thing. You would admit, right? No.
I was just telling the truth on
That,
how I felt about what I saw.
at the same time, you will admit that it ain't that. While it's not exactly a, I feel like we're in the minority. I feel like most people love this.
Uh huh.
Or enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it to an extent that, like, I think Darby's a great wrestler. He's someone that should have been put in position to have done this, except the timing's just off. Like, if the timing was on, I guess we got to start there, right?
I guess we do. Yeah, we
Yeah,
got some other stuff planned, but we might as well do the Darby Allin title change
yeah,
with
yeah.
MJF right here.
Yeah. So after, it's weird because like it's also we're here to review.
We're going back and
I,
forth. We're time
yeah,
copping.
yeah. It's strange, but I mean it's the most present thing or prescient, whatever. The
Pressing.
most pressing thing, right? Um, is that Darby Allin last night won the AEW World Title, and he won it in Everett, Washington, his neck of the woods, as a home area guy, and it was set up throughout the night to where he won the match against Andrade at Dynasty, a great match. Match was like, see, man, this is why these two should be in the main event scene, and um, yeah, just going forward, it was a normal contenders match. Darby in the post match thing says, "Hey, I'm gonna do." Before the main event says, "Hey, I'm gonna do it at Everett." Which should have led people to their, up, to the alert of, "Hey, I don't think Kenny Omega's gonna win the title," and then all of a sudden just beat Darby Allin in Washington 3 days later. That'd be crazy. So MJF shows up with Don Callis and their whole Rico that they got going on. Renee tells him, "Hey, your match is on next." He runs out down to the ring. Darby cuts his crazy crying promo, which is basically like, "You, I love the promo, but you're giving away that you're going to win the championship." Like
I
that.
was like, cry after the match, fool. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
like you goof. So and then granted, like, look, it's in the eye of the beholder. For me, it's like, you
When
know
I
things you
watched it
know
the second
before.
time, I watched it the second time. I liked it a lot more than I did seeing it the first time. I was like, "What are you doing, bro?"
Right, like I enjoyed it. I'm just laughing at him for crying. Right, the promo was great. It's just for some people, him crying in that way, it puts it over the top for why they like it so much, or like it more than just a great promo from Darby, who's not a great promo, consistently. To just being like, I like this a lot, but I also, Rich knows things. Rich tells me some of the things he knows, so my antennas are for, are you giving away the situation, even though it's kind of already, for a person that's following AEW, you kind of have an idea of like they're not booking all of this just to get to this point and then just have the Rainless parade.
Like,
Throughout,
they've been giving it away themselves for like 2 months at this point.
yes, yes, and
If there's anything I can like hope that we do, like when we like point these things out, is like not necessarily teach people how to watch the wrestling show, but like when we notice the signs of what they're doing, we're telling you to look for the signs.
yeah, especially because AEW is not WWE, for example, that like all they do is talk and talk and talk. So like you get lost in all the paragraphs of dialogue that they are dropping breadcrumbs to where they're headed. With AEW, it's very much a almost like a what do you call it? Um, if they're doing anything, it's for a reason, right? So uh or there's reason, like if you see somebody say something, it's like, all right, keep your antennas up, generally speaking.
Right.
So back to Darby, he cuts his great promo, and then they get Danielson on the mic there, and he does the play by, like, the middleman between, of you know he's talking on behalf of what's being fed to his ear from Tony Khan slash, hey, we're in Everett, Washington. And it's
Why don't you
Danielson.
talk?
Let Danielson talk to get you super happy because it's an underdog babyface in the main event in his hometown. And it's fitting into all of that. Which was like they're just hitting you over the head with a damn Yoshi
Subtext.
the Yoshi sledgehammer from Super Smash Bros. That hit this motherfucker's going to be the champion there tonight. So you have that. They move it over to the side and say that's going to be the main event. Then later on, as he's about to walk out, they have a pre-match interview similar to like some like the finals of the 5-star Grand Prix in Stardom, and all of a sudden Sting's there, and it's like, okay.
And they're playing video packages all throughout the night,
showing like the whole entire
so heavy-handed.
Showing the entire rise of Darby's like whole AEW run of like, hey man, this guy is very important and is a, I wouldn't say foundational, but is a key part that you cannot forget in the history of AEW television in history. And I mean, it would have felt better had they treated him more as such over the last 6 months as opposed to like the last 3 or 2. But it is what it is. So Sting.
We should probably mention like MJF like cutting these promos, and he does like a really good job, like kind of tying all this shit together, being in disbelief, and with Callis, and
shooting himself bell because he's about to lose tonight. That's really what it is. It's like, hey man, I wasn't expecting a match. I just had a grueling match with Kenny Omega. By God, the pro wrestling god, I beat him, and now 3 days later I got to defend myself. And I almost wrestled for an hour when really you need to wrestle 40 minutes. I don't think. It's like, okay man, we get it. You're gonna lose, and you're probably gonna go away. God damn, you don't need to lay it. Like, it's okay. You're a bad guy. It's okay for you to lose. So then all of a sudden the match comes out, and all of a sudden at some point, I think about like 9:10, 9:15, knowing that there's a Willow match going on, I was like, hey, bro.
When is this about to happen?
I was like, is this a 3-hour show, a 3-hour episode of Dynamite I'm unaware of? No. The bell. So flash forward, they don't get the bell doesn't ring for the main event until what? 10:02?
Like 10:02 at least.
Yeah, so 10:02, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? So they, match happens, and it is Aubrey's the ref. MJF at the bell ring says, hey Aubrey, I forgot I still have my AEW diamond ring thing. Take the ring. She takes the ring, goes and sends it to the scorekeeper or whatever, or the ring announcer or whatever else, and MJF proceeds to kick Darby in the dick. So gets him up. Darby and MJF start headed like barreling like they're about to do a ref bump, running right into Aubrey. Aubrey ducks, no ref bump. They stop just short of it. Darby realizes Aubrey's back turn, kicks MJF, returns favor, kicks him in the dick, and then like a barrage of 4 or 5 consecutive or unanswered coffin drops, gets him up, and then does the side headlock pin that MJF has pinned Darby with like twice already in their previous times wrestling each other in AEW. And I was like, wow, MJF really did another fake job.
I think people think like there's like some type of issue with like I don't know, like I'm calling this what it is. It's a fake job, like, and people not aware of the term. This is a historical One Nation Radio term.
It's something that me and you co-termed.
Yeah, like, so like when people hear that, it's like, but he lost quote unquote definitively in the middle of the ring. I'm like, this felt like a Money in the Bank cash in. Like when you think about it, and you add up the boxes.
Well, let's break it down, because like we only have really ever talked about this really in terms of like MJF and really honestly, and maybe a couple of WWE things here and there.
Like Adam Copeland.
Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, right?
Adam Copeland for short. Malachi Black.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes.
Yes. Well, I don't think I coined those squashes that Cody took, like the one to Brody King and the one to Malachi Black. I didn't consider those fake squashes, but I know, but because they actually helped those people. Like, right? It's a fake squash if you don't actually help the people.
The John Moxley CM Punk one, also.
I mean, how do I say this? It helped Moxley at the time. The problem is trying to get that match a week later on pay-per-view. That was the real problem. Because when Moxley did that shit, Moxley cut that promo after this one. Oh, is that how you thought it was supposed to go? I was like, oh, this nigga's king of the world right
The
now.
Hurt Business. That's a good one.
Those are
Fake jobs.
Hurt
yeah.
Business does fake jobs.
Yeah.
If they ever do any jobs to begin with.
If they do, yeah. So like the fake job is like, all right, man, like if it doesn't go, if they don't attempt to do like a real match, like for any real length of time.
That's the real thing. AEW, now we'll break it down. AEW is the match promotion, or one of the match promotions, right? You can say Stardom, you can say Dragon Gate, you can say New Japan, you can say, well, I can't say no, because no is, yeah. But, this is a promotion where they put their best wrestlers in the ring, and more times than not, you're going to get a definitive finish, or you're going to get a match with a finish that will then lead to a definitive finish down the line, right? So, in this match, it's not a real match. A real match is a real match is what MJF and Kenny Omega just had on Sunday. Like Kenny Omega and Swerve 1 and 2 this year, those are real matches. Andrade versus Kenny Omega and Andrade versus Swerve in basically like pseudo number 1 contender matches or AEW World Championship tournament matches. De facto, those were real finishes, right? It may involve some foul play, a low blow, a roll up, distraction, whatever else, but they gave you a full match where somebody gets beaten either cleanly or for a reason, and you will get your match that didn't have a clean undisputed finish return later. Like Swerve beating the hell out of Kenny Omega led to the rematch.
Yeah.
And then we got a definitive situation out of Kenny Omega and Swerve in the second match, right? When it's Wardlow and MJF, and it's just a barrage of
power bombs to start the match.
And then he's over before it even started, and then all of a sudden MJF shows up on the next show, calls Tony Khan a fucking mark, and then leaves for months, and it comes back. Like, MJF comes back, and because it's such an unusual thing, you don't think of it as he's going up or going down. He's just in stasis, and he goes away, and he comes back, he's right where he left off. And I think the main thing about it is, that
they wouldn't do this if like if they would just book a regular match if they wanted to book a regular match. This is irregular.
Right. And the thing about that is that's not the worst thing in the world. The problem is when you beat somebody like that, what we see is very similar to like the Hulk Hogan laying down for Billy Kidman. Like, cool, Hogan gets the pat on the back for not being selfish for once. Not saying that MJF is as bad as Hogan, because Hogan's the all-timer at this. But it is, Hogan's going to go on and continue to be Hulk Hogan. The person that he put over, did they actually get over? Wardlow, all the steam left out of that when MJF left. And he didn't get a definitive match. He didn't get his true vengeance. He didn't tear him apart. You didn't see none of that. It was a quick little match. He goes away from us. Wardlow's stuck holding the bag in theory, basically, right?
So with Darby now, I feel like they set him up like one of your first-time champions that cashes in a Money in the Bank and sneaks a nigga, essentially. Like, and do you expect a strong champion to be coming out of this? I don't.
No, and to be fair, I don't think any of us expected Darby to have some long, heroic title run to begin with anyway.
But I'll say
this. This don't help.
I'll say this. If Darby Allin was my favorite wrestler, I would feel fucking ripped off from what happened. Like, as far as like...
It feels slightly unearned.
Like, bro, like if Kenny Omega would have beat Okada exactly like this at Dominion, I would have fucking threw something or turned like a table over. Like absolutely the fuck not. I get
what you're saying. Those are totally different situations because we had already seen him have like the best match I'd ever seen in my life up to that point. And then the match that they delivered, the transfer the title over, is the best match I've ever seen in my life. So it's a little different. I get what you're saying.
Right.
I'm not expecting Darby and MJF to go out there and have a match of the decade. I'm just not.
I'll say this. If I'll always bring back to this example for Stardom. If you had to watch Tam beat Julia in this fashion, like at the end, like
I get you.
It feels cheap. Like I hate to break it to people,
especially because
large contingent of people. When y'all listen to All Things Elite and you hear Floyd Johnson, he's gonna say the same shit. They treat this nigga Darby like a Make-A-Wish kid.
Yeah,
like
because if they really want to do it, they could have waited until Double or Nothing and put it underneath the joint. put it underneath whatever's going to be the final of the Owen, right?
The Owen, yeah.
Right? Or they could have put it on Sunday, done it then, and then they could have moved on from there. They didn't have to do Andrade versus Darby as a number one contendership match. They only did that because they needed to actually, like, you know, lately I've been talking about the rankings don't exist anymore, but like he needed some help to be boosted up in the rankings that don't exist anymore to be actually, oh yeah, he does deserve a title shot, because Andrade's been picking around and beating people that actually got number one contendership matches, right?
Yeah,
like the Gabe Kidd and the dog shit didn't do it.
And I like those matches like that he had with Gabe Kidd, but I didn't see the coffin match, to be fair.
Not good. That is easily the worst coffin match in AEW history.
Gotcha.
That shit is like a go look at the cage match rating for that one. Yeah. I think that's just in the high fives or some shit like that.
Yikes. So,
I like it more than that, but I'm saying that's what most people think.
So like the thing that I really felt about it was I felt like it was rather out of nowhere. They put a one episode arc together with him, and it was like, okay, I get it. And this guy's great. Like, this is to take nothing away from Darby Allin as a wrestler. This is an all-time AEW. This is probably like a second team all AEW performer, like in the history of AEW, right?
Yeah. If we saying top five acts or whatever else, he's somewhere like top 5 acts make the first team, and the next 5 make the second team. He's definitely a threat for second team all AEW. Yeah.
This guy,
he's a first ballot AEW Hall of Famer.
Like, I've championed this guy for years on this show. This guy getting like this weird win out of nowhere after he decides to climb the mountain last year, which we haven't mentioned. Like,
that's another part of
when we talk about the timing was last year.
Right. Do you want to go through the timing real quick? You want to go through the timing through it real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So we've seen this plenty of times. We've seen this in seemingly New Japan Pro Wrestling. We've seen this in Stardom. We've seen this in AEW. Somebody is picked there's a plan in place for somebody to become AEW World Champion, or there is a title succession plan, right? Someone gets injured, someone's off TV, there's some type of dispute, whatever, we don't know, whatever. Regardless, whatever it is, it gets delayed and kicked and punted down the road. And once it's punted down the road, Tony Khan, I can't think of a time, maybe there is one, I just don't remember, where they say, this was the plan, we found something as good or better, and we're going to move on with it. What happens is, they move on, and then whatever the plan was,
loop back around.
They loop back around, they punt it down the road, they eventually fit it into place, and then they'll move on, and they'll keep going forward for whatever the next plans are, right? So, looking at this, seeing how this is done, it seems to me that like not last year, the end of 2024, especially at the end of 2024, because after the Owen final, where Danielson beats Page, Darby then, like, in the next match beats Page. Mm-hmm. Page was still doing this character where he was too fucking angry to actually focus his energy into something productive. That cost him the Owen. That cost him against Darby, and that sent him on this journey of needing to, damn near murder Swerve to have a crisis of conscience. Hey man, this path of vengeance I'm on is ultimately empty and hollow, and I have to kind of figure out a way to manage the mistakes I've made going forward. Right? Darby, on the other hand, he beats Page. I forgot what else he does, but all of a sudden it looks like it looked like he was the person they were choosing.
He loses to Jack Perry. He loses to Jack Perry in the coffin match at Wembley.
That's right. So he loses to Jack Perry. They're having their feud. He wins the feud against Jack Perry ultimately at the end, I believe. And then next thing you know, it's kind of odd. It's kind of weird. We don't know what's going on. And then next thing you know, we start hearing about Darby's going to Everest. You're like, why is he going to Everest? It looks like he's about to be the person supposed to go to All in Texas and face Moxley. And then
eventually he gets to a Jay White match. Jay White destroys him and sends him. The first time he tries to climb Everest, that shit gets pushed back. and he can't go at first.
That was 2024, right?
Forgot about that, but we should mention. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the second time, right? And then Jay White takes him off TV. He's gone.
TV. He goes and climbs Everest. As he goes and climbs Everest, he everybody knows. Okay, well now they have to go with Paige or Osprey. But it was like, wow, if you know this is in Texas, you know this is you know you're going back to Wembley next year. That seemed you could have chose either one. They decided to go with Paige because Paige was doing some of the best work in the history of the company as a singles wrestler at that time, better than Darby's ever done. But we'll go forward. So we'll go forward. Darby comes back, interferes in the Texas Death Match in Texas. Paige becomes champion. Immediately following that, they go straight to Moxley versus Darby, and they have an I Quit match, right? Or those I Quit match, right?
They do like basically Darby starts going through the Death Riders. I think he has to face Pac in like a TV program. He ends up in an I Quit match with Moxley that main events the show.
That main event's a pay-per-view. That Paige is a champion on, which was like, okay, so they're putting them bigger than a belt right now, right? And then it continues going on.
It was almost like that was meant to happen.
In Texas, yes. Where Sting shows up and bashes the aquarium, like Sting only show up for special occasions. He only shows up for the biggest of shows, brother. So it's either involving the gigantic moment in he's almost like damn man, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to give you a comic book reference, right? There's a character or characters in Marvel's comics called the Watcher. Basically, anytime there's like some cataclysmic thing that can alter the arc of the universe, the Watcher just shows up and says, hey Iron Man, hey Captain America. And it's like, oh shit, that means something for real finna happen. Like Sting is almost like the Watcher in AEW.
If y'all ever seen the Bronx Tale, it's like when Sonny pulls that nigga out the car before they about to blow up at the end. That's kind of what that is like too.
Yeah. So Sting only show up for important Darby moments or important AEW moments, right? At this point, since he's retired. So you get that. Then you have to tell me what the back half of last year was for Darby. Because I'm blanking because they fumbled. Oh, it was a lot of it was
messing with Gabe Kidd,
more Death Riders, and then Moxley offloading his Darby
he got hurt.
Two Death Riders.
He got hurt. He was supposed to be in the C2. He was supposed to be in the C2. Right. He got hurt after the first match. And he lost to Kevin Knight.
He got drop kicked by Kevin Knight. Yeah. So that fucked up his year too. Right, and also Moxley probably got that win back.
Seeing how it all went.
Right. So
he was gonna beat somebody.
Right. So now you go through the year where we're in catch up to where we are now, and it's like, okay, so he was he came back. The big thing was the Moxley thing, and then they kind of didn't know where to put him in position, and then they get to the year and like, oh my god, we knew this was coming, and like now we gotta kind of like cram. We gotta get rid of the.
It's like this side. It's like this side diversion.
We gotta get rid of the Gabe Kidd thing because it's not making him seem like a main eventer. We gotta put him in the ring with people that have been chasing after this AEW World Title at the beginning of the year. You know, the Swerves, the
Andrades,
the Kenny Omegas, the Hangman Adam Pages, the Brody Kings. I said Brody King earlier when I meant Brody.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Yeah. But like, yeah, it was a lot of that in the last like month or two to cram to get to this point. And I don't hate it, but it's like if you knew that you were going to do this, you should have been more cognizant that like, hey, this at the beginning of the year or the end of last year, the beginning of this year, this wasn't working to build him a launch pad to get to this moment. They did a lot of work over the last like 2 or 3 weeks or last month really to get to this point.
You've also got MJ.
Really feel earned.
And you've also got MJF having a good title reign.
Very good title reign. One of the best title reigns in the history of the company.
Business on the upswing. Kenny Omega and Swerve drawing big numbers with their matches.
Yes.
And then
Jericho showing back up.
Jericho showing back up. You've got Bandito going nuts throughout the whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
you've got a lot of guys in place rising. Like Kevin
And
Knight's
Andrade,
getting rolling.
Andrade out here looking like he should be the first Mexican AEW World Champion.
Like, so all this is happening. Then it's like, it's Darby you're going with. Like, it's just it kind of works against like what seemingly was getting established with all these folks that were beating each other week in, week out, and having these good main events. And
I'll tell you what it looks like.
What does it look like?
It looks like they're in a 4x1 relay, right? And then like every other nation, right? Swervistan, Omegadom, all of them were well ahead, and then all of a sudden we didn't know that Darby in the fourth leg had Usain Bolt on his fucking team, and all he did was laugh at the very end of that in the final stretch. Like, wait, what? How did this happen?
That's funny. So I guess like I said, I felt like it had weird kind of energy around it, and there was like a very heavy-handed nature combined with like the fake job thing, which is like if he just beats him in like a 10 or 15-minute match,
it'd be so much more satisfying for me.
For me, same. Like, it would be like, oh, okay. Like, it actually looks like something that's going to push him over the top and keep the fucking momentum rolling, because the company's hot right now. Right. I'm not necessarily concerned about them falling off the map or anything with Darby in position or anything.
I don't think this is going to be a long reign.
Same.
I think this got 6 months or 6 weeks at most.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, this is a good time, not a long time. So, but yeah, like I think like I don't know if some people may have like misconstrued like the things I was saying, like as far as like, you know, like the whole thing with the fake jobs and then it being like some anti-Darby agenda. Like, no, like
in a way, it's not too dissimilar from the Samoa Joe thing earlier this year. Well, also he's a person that beats Hangman Page. Like, this wasn't built to like this person was actual real threat. It just happened.
And I've seen a lot of people.
Except Darby, at least you knew you had some stop and starts. But like all of a sudden, like if you just start watching AEW this year, beginning of this year in 2026, you're like, wait, he's a champion now?
Like the nigga that was doing the car crashes and like the stunts and
he has good matches. I like him, but like he ain't. But there people gonna be like he ain't Swerve, he ain't Andrade, he ain't so forth and so on. Omega, all that.
Yeah, and there was one other point I had. Like, so many people brought up it being this Mick Foley like thing, and I'm like, and wanting it to be like kind of seen in that light, and I'm like, do you niggas want to love the Fed or not? Like what do you want it to be? Like, do you want to be your own thing? Like, well, if Darby wants to win this shit, you want Darby to win this shit, and you want it to kind of be remembered. Let it be remembered for its own thing, rather than just like this 1999 shit that ultimately served the other nigga that was in the rivalry.
Well, do you actually think that people really believe that, or are they just making like parallel comparisons?
Very simple ground level comparisons.
Right. Because like that match had a million fucking run-ins, and Austin comes at the end, and the crowd loses fucking mind in a chair shot. This didn't have that. Like Darby, obviously for dick kicks, but like there wasn't plunder and a million niggas running in. It didn't involve that. It just has to be like, oh, this is the flagship TV show where underdog babyface beats the dastardly heel of the moment.
I'm like, you know what like smokes this also? Lex Luger beating Hulk Hogan on fucking Nitro. Like, bro, like y'all not.
I gotta go back and watch it.
Look, in the words of my New York niggas, in the words of my New York niggas, like when you see the reaction to Lex racking him, and you see what that building fucking looks like, right? On Nitro 100. I'm not, as my New York niggas would say, I'm not jacking this shit.
All right, so you're not willing to admit that like the era's different, and that like if guys were doing what they were doing now back in 1990, like the damn stadiums and arenas would like spontaneously combust and implode the roof, right? Like,
hey, there's one thing that don't change over time: lifting the bitch up. Like, There's one thing that don't change over time. Putting a bitch like this in the
ring.
ring.
Think about the best moments of WCW time. Motherfuckers are throwing shit in the ring in celebration. Like, there's poster boards everywhere. People were easy to... Like, bro, the second somebody sees a Canadian Destroyer in 1996, it's fucking over. I'm sorry. It just is. So, I get what you're saying, but it's not exactly apples to apples. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. We're harder to entertain these days. That's all.
Yeah, like, but yeah, Darby's a new champion. Looks like he's set to face Tommaso Ciampa, who picked up a win over Desmond Xavier. Darby versus Ciampa should be really good and fun. And yeah. I was reminded once again, James, people did not want this man in the company.
You know, look, man, like, there's the other side of it, right? Like, there's the people.
Man, Luger Nitro, the biggest pop I had ever heard in wrestling. I'm telling you, bro. He's got him up like that shit was, and then let's not even bring up Goldberg. Like, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that.
Some other shit, bro. That was some other shit. Like
I'm saying, like, if this, like, if it's a babyface winning the belt for the first time, and they hand me that script, like, exactly, and I get it, I'm like,
I get you.
Why can't I just? I don't know.
Why can't I just win at the biggest show of the
There's that.
Season? Yeah.
There's that, but it's like, I guess there's a lot of factors here, so I don't know. Like, and
if the factor is, hey, I think Kenny Omega does a lot better on a main event marquee to sell whatever the typical number of pay-per-views AEW does in Darby Allin, then maybe that's your fucking hint.
I mean, not so worried about Big Ken.
Neither am I. But you get my point. Is like, if your whole thing is you got to do this to get the fan, to get the buy rates. But then now we'll give you
switch it on the other side.
Yeah, because we're afraid if we do the moment here, then it won't sell as many. Then there's your fucking answer, probably. Just maybe. Or you can wait 3 more months and build Darby up, and then do it at double or nothing or whatever in 6 or in 3 months.
I guess they really wanted to do it in Washington. Darby talked about how he was hanging the posters and all that. I saw that WrestleStakes count. He should have hung a few more posters, it looked like. But, so...
That is nasty. That is nasty. He should have hung a few more posters. I mean... Well, there is somebody from Washington State that could have been on the show. That could have helped too, but he wasn't on the show.
Yeah, they always had an option to book that guy. So
I
would love to see it, but.